A gentleman sent me a text and said, what do I think about tattoos? I said, if
those days, pagan worship was associated with tattooing your body. And God was saying,
for tattoos in the world today, what does the Bible say or teach about tattoos?
So Pastor Kingley Okonkwo has triggered a lot of reaction ever since he came out publicly to draw tattoo on his body. And this has made prominent Nigerian men of God to share their 2 cents. If you've been wondering whether it is okay for Christians to have tattoos on their body, then this video is a video for you and you should see it till the end. Apostle Joshua Selman made his own speech. Kesiana Esiri made his own speech. Irene and Pastor Chris made quite very interesting speech about whether or not Christians should have tattoos. And of course, the different men of God have quite different things to say about tattoos. At this point, I will just allow you to listen to each of them and let us know your own thoughts in the comments below.
a gentleman sent me a text and said, what do I think about tattoos? I said, if you have it before you were born again, there's nothing that can happen. But if by the time you are born again and you still want to do all of these things, you see, all things are lawful, but not all. In the kingdom, it's not all about sinfulness and righteousness. There are times it's about foolish and wise. There were 10 virgins. They were all virgins. And yet, as virgins, they still suffered. Because 5 were foolish and 5 were wise. Are we together now? If I draw a mouse on my head now and I come to preach, and I say it's my life, it's not my business, please don't feel bad. I'm just to touch on it and then we'll pray. Are we together? And you don't, I just tell you, how will you believe if I'm praying for you? Let's not say these things don't matter and keep making a fool out of ourselves. No, sir. If someone did it in the past and the person has come to the fold, there's nothing we can do. Believers, let's be careful. Respectfully speaking, some of these things we ship from the West, I'm not condemning, but the West needs the mercy of Africa. God is shipping people to correct things there. The generation of people who have risen right now is a generation that does not respect God. Just because they are technologically advanced does not mean they are spiritually advanced. Don't trade your heritage or spirituality.
what is the value is adding now? All this unnecessary talk back and front for not there. This matter of tattoo that is flying around, this is where the issue is. Is it a sin? No. Because you are thinking now, Leviticus 19, do not cut your bodies for the dead and do not mark your skin with tattoos. I am the Lord. This was a direct instruction to Israel. But have you seen 27? That means all of us were in trouble. God was dealing with their cultural context at that time. What was the context of this demand? In those days, pagan worship was associated with tattooing your body. And God was saying, if you are my child, you must be different from those who are pagans. So anything the pagans are doing, don't be involved in it. This tattoo matter is like this food matter. But here is the problem. The person involved is a man of God. He's a pastor. The thing about being a pastor is that you hold great influence over people. A weak brother now sees a pastor. Just imagine now that as I came to church tonight, as I came to church, I now walk in, my wife is not around, and you see my hand on his sister's waist. You first check. So maybe it's AI. You may not say anything, but I've communicated a message to you that there are no boundaries. The problem with this thing is that the man who is weak in faith, he will now go and do things that are beyond where the pastor has control. He can decide, I'm not going to do beyond this or that or that. But the people who follow him, there are no boundaries. Number one. Number two, Paul says, you see, I like Paul. And I beg you, if you follow me, study Paul. Love Paul's teaching. Paul says, all things are lawful, but where is the benefit? Now, this person might say, people are going to hear the gospel. When it came to inscriptions, because of the way God's mind works, he says, write them on your doorposts. Write them on the lintels of your windows. He could have said, write them on your body. He says, write it in your heart. When it came to hand, he said, bind it upon your hand. That means write it on a paper, on a board, and tie it to your...
He's not the father of flesh. He's the father of spirits. So, after you've become a Christian, quit trying to glorify your flesh. Quit being fleshly minded. He says for us not to be carnally minded, but to be spiritually minded. So, as a baby in the Lord, you may do that and have fun. And it's lawful. So we say, well, you didn't sin by doing that. You didn't sin by doing that. But what about the best? In Christianity, it is true that you left the bad things for the good things. But now that you're a Christian, you leave the good for the best. You start moving in the life of excellence. So how expedient is it? And then we don't even stop at expediency. I talk about excellence. How excellent is that? If it is not excellent, it's no point, it's no use. So lift your standard and go higher. Master wants is not that at that moment you now try to get ready. He wants you to be ready all the time. If you are doing the things that he has asked you to do, if you're living as he's asked you to live, you'll always be ready. Being ready every time. Daisy from the USA. There's a craze for tattoos in the world today. What does the Bible say or teach about tattoos? The Bible doesn't say anything about tattoos. It doesn't say anything about tattoos. And so, that's it. So, tattoo or no tattoo, if you're a child of God, you're a child of God. And the problem with tattoos is that, especially the permanent ones, is that when you put them on, you may not be able to change your mind when you don't put them anymore. So, just be careful of doing anything to your body that you can't change when you want to make a change. Anita Yorson. Pastor, can a Muslim enjoy God's grace and salvation if he or she does not accept Jesus Christ as his Savior? You converted me from being a Muslim to a Christian.